Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Karina, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. Today is the 11th day of Christmas, so just one more vlog to go. It's about 5:20 on this Thursday morning, and I'm heading out to the barn to feed the horses. Been thinking about, as I was knitting this morning, I was thinking about what I am going to pack for knitting for travel. You can see it's raining. Because we are going to Texas at the end of next week to visit my mom and her husband for, 5 days, I think. So I will probably take, here's the pond. The neighbors' Christmas lights. I'm glad they're still up. There's the upstream side of the creek and the house and the barn. I will probably take that scarf that I was working on this morning, and I'm guessing my Advent shawl, my socks. I usually cast on something when I'm traveling, but I don't think so. I think 3 projects is going to be enough. So, and hopefully, I probably won't finish any one of those projects. So, I think that'll be adequate entertainment for sitting in airports and being on the plane and visiting with my mom and that. There's O. They like to stand under this tree, and O's already headed to his stall, it looks like. They like to stand under this tree, which the nearest branch is 20 feet up during storms. Not in their stalls, where there's hay and a roof. So, and I know it's because they feel safer outside where they can hear and they can see, because they are prey animals, and that's very important to them. Well, I'm going to get to feeding. So I'm walking back up to the house, done feeding. Bragi has just been a little bit more challenging lately. He's my young Mustang. He's, between 4 and 5. I'm beginning to think he's closer to 4 because of his immaturity. But it just seems like he's kind of forgotten some of his previous training. I have upped my expectations of him just to advance his training, and I've been doing it very slowly and methodically, and he seemed like he was ready for more, so I gave him a little more. Was very clear about my expectations and being very gentle about it. But now it's like he's forgotten some other things or just doesn't want to. So I put hay in his stall, and he came in for a second to his stall, and then he walked out, and that was before I had the chance to close the gate. So he's hanging out under that tree again, and so I got the halter. I was going to bring him back into his stall where his hay is now, and he's like, no, I don't want to put on the halter. I'm just going to walk back to my stall. Okay, fine. He walked back to his stall, and it's like, well, you just can't say no and walk away when I ask you to do something. So I thought I would work on putting his halter on. And at first, he's like, I really don't want to do this. I want to eat, and I'm not going to let him eat until he does the task. Very simple task. Put on your halter. Well, once he realized I wasn't going away, he kind of begrudgingly put his nose in the halter. I put it on, gave him a reward, told him he was a good boy, took it off, and we did it again. And he's kind of like, what the hell? I thought we did this. But he did it. So, again, my being persistent and patient and not going away, you know, being very gentle, and he did it. So it'll be interesting tomorrow. My trainer's coming, and she hasn't worked with him in about a month, just because I felt like he needed time to absorb what we were teaching him, and I've been just doing stuff with him, short sessions with him every day for a short period of time. That's my grandfather's anvil, by the way. So I'm planning on working with him today at lunchtime, bringing him up here to the front. There's a cone. Oh, there you can see it. So we're playing the cone game up here, and I'm giving him a lot of grazing time. There's no grass in the pasture right now, so the best grazing is in the lawn. And both horses really enjoy that time, so I let them graze for 10 or 15 minutes and then take them back to their stall, or out to their pasture, pasture. So that's what I'm planning on today. Not sure if it's going to rain all day. It's not raining hard enough to stop me from doing anything, and I hope that remains the case. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to have for a knitting portion today, but I will talk to you later. Good morning again, everyone. I'm walking back from the barn. I just let the horses out from their breakfast, feeding, ducking under the fence. And Bragi was just really interesting. He had gone back into his stall to eat breakfast. He was there when I got there. He did his little cone exercises perfectly. And so I don't know, maybe he just had a little emotional crisis over the last couple of days of me adding to my expectations, and now he gets it. I hope that's the case. I'll check in with you later. Hi everyone, welcome to the knitting portion of my podcast. I'm gonna make this short because I have a Zoom meeting coming up shortly, and this one I don't think I need to participate in too much, just need to listen, so I will be doing some knitting during it. What am I wearing? This is a cable sweater by Nora Gaughan, I think. I haven't been able to find this pattern on Ravelry or anywhere, so I have no idea where I got it. If I come across it in my journey through all my knitting patterns, I will post it one of these days. This was actually repurposed yarn. I originally knit a Tin Can Knits cardigan that didn't fit me well. So I decided to rip it out and knit this one. I did that probably, I'm going to say at least 5 years ago. And I really like it. I tend to make my sleeves too long. I like my sleeves to come about at my wrist. And so I always end up folding out. I mean, they're probably technically the correct length, but I don't like them that long. So I just need to keep that in mind for future projects. But this was a really fun knit. It is in, I think it's in pieces. Yes, it is seamed together. So knit flat and then piece together. And the buttons are these little metal ones. So this is one of my favorite cardigans. It's quite warm. It's out of a worsted weight. I want to say it's a Cascade yarn in a heather green color. So I like to wear this a lot this time of year. Otherwise it tends to be a little too warm in other times of year. So I think I hardly made any mistakes on this sweater, which is kind of nice. Usually what happens is that I'm looking at a sweater, I'm looking back at it, and I see that like I didn't fully twist the cable or something like that. I know that I've seen that on my red cable knit sweater that I wear, cardigan that I wear occasionally. Projects. I brought up 2 projects. One is my sock. This is out of the Freckled Whimsey Advent 24 stripe, self-striping yarn. So this is the amount of progress I've made on it. I haven't knit it on it much. I am considering, I have both cats up here with me. I am considering making these knee socks. It is a 100-gram skein of yarn with a contrast color, and I tend to be able to get 2 pairs of socks out of a full skein of yarn. So I'm kind of thinking about that, and I will have some airplane knitting next week, so perhaps I will do that. The other thing I worked on last night was my shawl. This is the Tellybeans Knits Advent shawl, which actually the one clue came out every day during December up until, excuse me, the 24th. But actually the knit along goes on until January 31st. I probably won't get this finished. I like the colors in this. Obviously I chose the pink colors out of my scrap stash and out of the, well, pink and purple, and out of this Polka Dot Creek Advent bouquet that I got. Although I'm kind of liking this kind of gray color, so that may end up in there. Other than that, I'm picking as many pink scraps as I can. I may not take this with me on our trip next week just because I'm not sure I have all my pink scraps put together for all 25 days. I will have to think about that. I mean, I probably have, I think I'm on day 13, so I probably only need to find 12 more colors. So that should be easy. I'll work on that. Maybe that'll be my assignment this weekend. What am I thinking about knitting? So, I didn't cast on a new project for New Year's. I have been thinking about knitting a skirt. Well, I have this crochet magazine, and I used to be quite an avid crocheter. So I've had this for quite a long time. Let's see if we can find a year on it. Spring 2012. But there's a skirt in here that I'm kind of thinking of crocheting, and it's this purple one. It's worsted weight yarn. It is, this cracks me up because YouTube picks a thumbnail for each podcast, and podcasters have an option of doing their own thumbnail if they want to. I like the element of surprise, and sometimes it just cracks me up when I see the expression on my face as the thumbnail for my podcast. So I do that for my own amusement. I know that some podcasters are, they have a very carefully arranged, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that people want to look their best. I am in this for the fun of it and for the amusement of it and the amusement of myself. So undoubtedly my thumbnail for this episode is going to be something like that. Anyway, this yarn is a worsted weight yarn. The recommended yarn is an acrylic Caron, C-A-R-O-N yarn. I am thinking of using the brown because I have a lot of brown from my Riverside sweater and crocheting this. It takes 2 crochet hooks, a J and a G, I think. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't quite see it. So that may be my New Year's cast on. So I will see if I have enough of that yarn to pull that off. And thank you, by the way, for the suggestion. Cheryl, one of my regular viewers, suggested ripping, since I was going to rip back the ribbing, she suggested ripping back all the way to the broad red stripe on that sweater and just using more of the brown color in it to kind of tone down the red. And thank you, I appreciate that. It's very tempting to start a knit along for our frogged projects that maybe need a little inspiration. I'm gonna have to think about that because
it's so easy to just set those projects that have been disappointing aside and start working on something that gives us joy. So I will think about that, and if anyone likes that idea, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get distracted by this. That's all I have for the knitting portion. We have one more day in the 12th day of Christmas, and then I will go back to my regularly scheduled podcast. So have a great day, everyone.